Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Think Rugby podcast. I am back from my travels. I bought the t-shirt, got it in Cardiff. Yes, that's right, Cardiff. And I'm joined down the line by my partner in crime, Zav. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. But when did you go to Wales? I never knew this.
And we'll continue to let everybody think I did actually go to Cardiff. There's been a lot of rugby on this weekend, Zav. How much of it did you manage to catch? You had the Rugby Championship and the return of all the domestic leagues.
Quite a lot, to be honest. I was up nice and early to watch the All Blacks. I was watching, on the Sunday, I watched some Gallagher Prem. I did touch on some of the URC. It was the Cardiff Blues vs Lions, I'm pretty sure it was. Lions have a fancy kit. Have you seen that kit? Oh my god. It does hurt your eyes after a while though. So it's pretty rainbow coloured, but it's not in like the part of a rainbow. It's all kind of splodgy about the place. But very nice kit nonetheless. It was an alright game. I caught most of it, but not at all. I watched the Women's World Cup final as well. Congratulations to England on winning their second ever Rugby World Cup, or second or third Rugby World Cup. First one since 2014. So they are kind of asserting their name in the women's rugby world, which they have done for a while, but really kind of up there. So yeah, what about yourself, Andy? What could you manage to catch?
I didn't watch the Women's World Cup final. However, I did watch both. Well, I watched all the Glasgow game on Friday night. Got up nice and early for the All Blacks Wallabies and caught bits of the Edinburgh game, which was the good bits, not the bad bits. And then obviously I watched bits of if not all of the Box Pumas game. So yeah, quite a lot. I wasn't allowed to watch any rugby on Sunday. I was told Friday night and Saturday was plenty.
Anyway, we'll get on with it. We'll start with the Rugby Championship. We'll skim through it. So the All Blacks vs Australia, Bledisloe is on the line. All Blacks has retained their 23rd Bledisloe Cup. That is incredible. What does that make it back to 2002, the last time they lost Bledisloe? That just kind of shows there's still a kind of dominance there in terms of, at least that kind of trophy anyway. But All Blacks beat Australia 33-24. I mean, for me, the All Blacks were well in control for good parts of that game. There was a wee blip near the end of the first half and kind of into the second half where Australia did kind of pull it back, and as the score suggested, it was a lot closer. But All Blacks started the game very strong. Barrett got injured, hurt his shoulder, and once Barrett got injured, I think you'll agree with me, Andy, All Blacks kind of lost their steam a little bit, and Australia came firing forward with about 2 or 3 tries, and they were quite relentless actually. And I was kind of sitting on the edge of my seat thinking, this could go very sour for the All Blacks, and I think they just managed to kind of knock the wind out of Australia's sails just in time. A shout out to Ardy Surveyor with another massive turnover when they were up against it with Australia on the break, and I think if they managed to get wide after that phase where they gained about 50 metres, then it was going to be a certain try. But Ardy Surveyor with a cracking tackle on his feet, legally turning over the ball there, and that's a kind of big moment. That's what you want from one of your leaders, captain / vice captain on the day.
Yeah, definitely. It seems to be that usually in that scenario, you kind of look for a senior player to kind of bail you out of trouble. But usually, with Ardy Sevilla so far this championship, that's when he looks like he's at his best. You know, he's not bailing anybody out of trouble. That's just what he does. It's big time moments that he does in big games for the All Blacks. Remarkable player.
For sure. But I was really impressed with it. What I will say is, and you touched on it before, just before going on camera, James O'Connor, he had a pretty poor game. Like, it's kicking from hand, especially in the first half. Oh my goodness. Especially, again, Test rugby, Test footy as they call it, Test rugby, you're not capitalising on that extra 5-10 metres going for touch. That is huge. In terms of tactics and that's huge. And even mindset, if you've got a line out 10 metres closer to the try line opposed to 50 metres further back or 10 metres further back to where you expected it to go, and that is huge psychologically and also in terms of tactics. So, I think Australia, James O'Connor maybe let himself down. He's played well this championship, don't get me wrong. I haven't been impressed with him in the whole part, and you can't have 8 or 10 performances all the time. But when it really, really mattered, I think he let himself down a little bit, given the experience that he has got under his belt over his long kind of spanned career. What's the answer though?
Tom Liner.
Okay. For me,
I'm only saying that because you were ranting about him during the Lions tour. So
one of the two for me is either Tom Liner, who is shown he can't do it. He did it against the British Irish Lions back a few months ago. But also, I was more thinking Noah Lucio. They need him back, and obviously got injured in the warm-ups before the Lions, so he's been out for quite some time. Is he going to be fit enough for these autumn championships? I don't know. Well, I like to think he would be, unless it's a really bad surgery that he's had to undergo. But hopefully Tom Lyon is back in time for Wallabies. I don't think he'll be back in time for maybe this weekend. Who knows? But then again, it kind of big question: who you're going to pick? Are you going to back James O'Connor, who's been pretty decent for the most part of this championship, or are you going to go with somebody else because he's not had the greatest of games? I think it was a one-off. I don't think it was pressure. I think it was just a kind of one-off. This second test, that Bledisloh's not on the line. Australia almost playing for pride almost. I don't think they can still mathematically win it. Possibly not going by points, but they've got a mountain to climb. The bottom line is they've got a big mountain to climb. I can't see them putting X amount of points past the All Blacks. I don't have the table up. Maybe Andy will pop the table up on the screen just for me, just there. Excellent, cheers Andy. And then again, you've also got to think of Springboks vs Argentina. Is the result going to go in Australia or New Zealand's favour? But then you've got Springboks, which, I mean, on Saturday, I will let you run the show on this one, Andy, but they seemed pretty effing dominant.
They did, even when Cheslin Colby inadvertently, in the most bizarre scene I think I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
He goes to drop kick it to his pals. It lands in front of the posts in the 5 metre channel.
Yep.
And I can't remember who it was, but the Argentinian boy literally picks the ball up and puts it down for a try. It's remarkable. I've never seen anything of the like before.
That's a first, especially with this rule being about for a couple of seasons now. That's the first time I've seen anything like that. Okay, maybe in amateurs happen, but in terms of international and professional, club level, this was an international game. I've never seen it before. It was quite comical. Couldn't believe it. Really couldn't believe it. But in the grand scheme of things, it didn't really matter. Then it did, because the score was pretty close by that point. Or the half-time score, what do you say it was? 25 points to 23 to the Boks.
Yeah.
Really tight game. Obviously, the Boks kicked on from there. Combination between maybe switching on, getting a kind of kick up the arse from Razzie Rasmus, but also maybe the bomb squad as well, coming into play as well. Snyman came on, I think he played incredible. Sacha, even Lebok came on, I think he did a job. Sacha, Feinberg, Mngomezulu.
That was my try of the game. Was Lebok's the second
Chip
last
over.
try that he got was fucking.
Chip
I was
over
like,
the
wow.
head. Yeah, absolutely. Look, Lebok's a stunning player. Absolutely. If you can pick which they showed they can't have Sacha, Feinberg, Mngomezulu, and also Lebok on the same team, then I'm sorry, that is pretty destructive, because it takes pressure off the kicking for Lebok and lets him play his game, which, I mean, he just showed what he can do. Yeah, we'll give brilliant position for Slavka to be in. Yeah, shout out to Feinberg Mngomezulu for his hat-trick and also his 37 points. 37 points out of the 67. That is fantastic. He's only, 25 years old at this current moment in time. Still not quite in his prime, still, like you kind of say, as a young player, kind of learning his craft. But oh man, he is up there. You know what I thought when I seen it, and you might disagree, it's not maybe as like this. Obviously, we didn't watch this certain player back in the day because we're maybe too young to remember. But Dan Carter in 2005 against the Lions, I think it was the second test. Everybody calls it the perfect performance. Do you think that is, I'm not saying up there on par, but do you think that's maybe close, as in one of the best performances you've seen for a rugby player, individual rugby player on a game?
It's in the conversation, but it's not the same.
Why not?
It's just not. You've got recency bias.
I guess I would say Carter, to be honest. Again, you could maybe say All Blacks bias and my hatred towards the Boks, but I think that I'm joking. It's not. I'm not hateful towards the Boks, but I think Sacha Feinberg Mngomezulu, I would say that's definitely within the top 10 individual performances of all time on a rugby park and at the international level. And I know you can't just base it off points, because points is one thing. You can also base it off other factors such as defence, just link up play, anything like that, leadership. But I think in terms of, if you count up all the points and how well he controlled that game and is kicking off the boot hand in hand, I reckon he deserves probably top 10 best performances of all time individually on the international scene, which, well done to Sacha. Anything else to add about those games? I mean, it makes for a really tasty final round in the championship. Basically, All Blacks, for me, All Blacks vs South Africa. Favourites for me, South Africa, especially after that result there. I can't really see the Pumas doing too much damage. I can't see them really. I can't see them coming close after that. That has probably knocked a lot out of them. And again, the All Blacks, I mean, I think the All Blacks probably will beat Australia again, but were cracks. I mean, we'll see how long Barrett's out for. If Barrett's not available for this match week, which I assume the team sheet will be out by the time, or coming out by the time this episode is up. If he's out, then how do they cope without Barrett? Because it showed that the All Blacks did struggle without Barrett for long periods of that game against Australia on Saturday.
Yeah, well, the team sheet isn't out, but I did see earlier today that Boden Barrett has been ruled out for the return game of the Bledisloe Cup. But just to touch on that there, obviously the table will be on the screen, but the table as it goes is Box.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the difference between the Box and New Zealand may only be 1 point, but in terms of points scored, the Box are on 55 positive and New Zealand are on -6.
Yeah, everything's looking. And that would mean I'm right. If Box end up winning, I'll be right. All the Springboks fans can now apologise in the comments down below for all the slander and all the hate I got for saying I hate them. I'm bitter. I'm spiteful against the Springboks. I said you guys will win this, and so far I'm getting proven right. Come on, the Pumas, let's do a result. So anyway, I think honestly, like the Box it's theirs to lose for me.
I would agree with you. The recurring theme this championship has been that the Box have been relentless in all of the second halves of the games, other than the Australia game that they lost. And
yeah,
it hit home, to be honest, when they slapped down the All Blacks a fortnight ago. But to do it at the weekend again against the Pumas, half-time score 25-23.
Mm-hmm.
Full-time score 67-30. I mean, the math speaks for itself. They're on another planet, and then plus 55 to -6 for the points difference. Nobody can live with them.
No, certainly not. And to be fair, I've got nothing else to say. To be honest, let's just wait till round number 6 and see how we get on. I'll be most definitely try to watch both games. I'll miss the Box game, I believe, because my own rugby in the afternoon. However, I'll get the All Blacks game because it'll be first thing in the morning again. So I cannot wait for that. Okay, dokes.
You want to do some predictions?
Yeah, fuck it, why not?
Okay. So 11:15 Saturday morning, Australia against New Zealand at the Optus Stadium in Perth.
Mm-hmm.
I've went for the All Blacks to win by 1 point.
I'd say All Blacks by...
Fair enough.
And then Springboks.
This game's going to be at Twickenham for those who are unaware. It's a 2 p.m. kickoff UK time.
So what are you thinking then?
Yeah, the Boks are going to win by 10 points, yeah. Having it at a neutral venue is going to suit the Boks far more than Argentina.
Why is that a neutral venue?
I don't know. I can only assume it's just for travel arrangements, but I could be wrong.
Could be, I guess. No, I'm going to say South Africa. It's not going to be by the score anywhere close to the score that they did just the previous week, but I'm going to say Safa by 13, which will be enough. I think they'll probably score 4 tries. I think it'll be a bit of a blunder if they don't score 4 tries. And Argentina will be gunning for them, but I think they'll be hurting. Like I say, the Box just seems so strong at the moment. Even just like the bomb squad coming on, they don't slow down, they just speed up, and it's just scary and very hard to match. Yeah, we'll see how we get on. But that's my predictions, and there's yours. I'm happy with that. I mean, we'll see if we've both been proven right or both been proven wrong come Saturday.
Yep.
Okay, right. URC Glasgow.
Yeah, so we'll only speak about Glasgow this week, mainly because we don't have enough time for Edinburgh, but also because Edinburgh were shite and they lost away to Zebra. Enough said about Edinburgh. So Glasgow Sharks, 35-19 to Glasgow. I have to say that was a good, solid win, a good start to the season for Glasgow against a kind of pesky Titan Sharks team that kind of refused to go away until the very end. I thought Dan Lancaster had a solid enough game to begin with. I also thought that Kyle Rowe had a good game. Could this be the season where he breaks into that bracket of where you've got Van der Merwe, Graham and Kyle Steyn? Who knows? Last year he was solid and he's kind of just coming out the infancy of his Scotland career, or playing in the international level for Scotland's what I mean. I have to say the lineouts were immaculate for Glasgow. I thought they were really solid, and I also thought that the game itself, it didn't look like a league opener, and they did touch upon this in commentary. I think Rory Hamilton said it on comms. It was more like a game you would find in the middle of the season rather than an opening game. Yeah, A good start. A few things to work on, but yeah, you couldn't ask for anything better, I would say. Friday night, opening up the new season in front of your home fans. So good.
Yeah, good start for Glasgow, and I hope they do kind of kick on from there. Positive start against, again, the Sharks, who are not a pushover whatsoever. I mean, brilliant team. But yeah, they did well. I'm really happy with how it went. Scotland Stadium seemed to be quite vibrant as well.
And Hendricks didn't pull up with cramp again.
No way! What a shame.
Who'd have thought?
Me, no.
That's none of my business.
Right, Gallagher Premiership. So I'm going to steal your thunder there, Andy. I'm going to mention the Gallagher Premiership because a couple of the games were just too good to not speak about. The first one being Northampton vs Exeter on Sunday. The early kick-off at 1 o'clock ish, 1 o'clock ish kick-off or half one kick-off. Northampton were 33 points to 7 up at half-time. And Exeter managed to pull it back to draw 33 all with a try disallowed, which would have won in the game. Brampool, absolutely phenomenal game. A couple of flaws in this game still. I don't think he'll be close to the England squad yet, given the depth they've got in the wing. The return of Manuel Bosso again scored a try on his return. Also got injured while scoring the try, so hopefully he's not out for too much longer again because he was out for like 10 months last time. Very, very exciting game to watch from a neutral perspective. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and we did both kind of think Exeter will be way down there in the standings, but they've started the league positively against Northampton, which albeit were missing their lions such as Pollock, such as Alex Mitchell. There's a few more to mention, but hey, at the end of the day, it's just kind of what happens. In terms of the Bears, though, which is my team, my favourite club, the Bristol Bears, they seen past Leicester Tigers, in which was a very, very tight back and forth game throughout. Tom Jordan with his home debut, with his league debut. Same with Louis Zamet. Tom Jordan with man of the match, let's start with. I thought he was a very mature performance. McGinty got injured very early on. Yeah, so did Harry Vandal, so that was your 9 and 10 both out within the first 20-25 minutes. Folk just, loads of the Bears players started dropping like flies. Luatua had to go off. There was loads of them. It was so strange, so bizarre. But like I say, Tom Jordan controlled, went into fly half very early on. He was just meant to be a cover for that now and again, but never mind for your first game at Ashton Gate. But stunning player, Tom Jordan. What a pick-up for the Bears. Zamet with his try at the end. I mean, it was literally a foot race, but he beat Haskell Collins in the foot race to dot down and score half a length of the field try, 50-60 metre try. But also, a kind of shining light, Admiral Radwan with his 2 tries. I mean, such low centre of gravity. And again, I don't know why he was at Newcastle for so long, because somebody should have picked him up before the Tigers did. But I'm glad the Tigers did, because he's kind of shown his potential there, and I think he's playing himself into an international call-up at some point. He really, really has to be, because there'll be something wrong with the form he's in. I know it's just the first game of the season, but even the back end of last season in the playoffs and everything, he was just unplayable. One other thing to mention in depth was Newcastle lost to Sarries on their first league game of the new rebranded Newcastle Red Bulls. They lost 17 points to 39, and that was with Sarries getting a 20-minute red card literally within the first tackle of the game, which also Newcastle, I'd like to mention, scored a try from before the red card happened, so they had that major advantage to start with. Sarries came back, pulled through, won 17 points to 39. So Newcastle have a long, long way to go. So we'll see how we get on there. Other couple of games was Quins lost to Bath 31-47. Dominant display away from home for Bath. And then you got Sale Sharks, seen out Gloucester, 27 points to 10. At Sale's home ground. There you go. So it's a good kind of, maybe Sale's a bit of a dark horse this Gallagher Premiership. You never know. You can never kind of write them off, really, especially with George Ford controlling that game. But no, so that was the kind of roundup there. Like I say, Exeter are absolutely stunning. I mean, watch the game back if you can, watch the highlights. Same with the Bears game. If you want to watch a crazy brand of rugby, shake your head, Andy. Nod your head, sorry, Andy, don't shake it. Honestly, brilliant brand of rugby, especially the Bears. Gabi Batoy as well. If you want to see somebody having fun playing, doing his job, watch Gabi Batoy. Absolute player. Who would you say, back to Glasgow, who would you say was the best player for Glasgow? Do you say Lancaster, or do you say he's kind of played well?
Rory Darge and Fagerson both had good games, and it's kind of hard to look past them. Ferry had a good game. Samuel had a good game. Johnny Matthews solid again. Some of the big, like the Lions, Scott Cummins came on, and there was only 20 minutes or so to go, but same with Rory Sutherland. I was like, yeah, they came on, but not an awful lot was kind of done about it. Jamie Dobie won them the game with his try at the end. Yeah, I'd automatically lean towards Kyle Rowe, but then Rory Darge and Matt Fagerson. Fagerson got a try, so yeah.
How do you think it works? Sorry to bring back to Glasgow, but how does it work with Dobby and George Horn being in the field at the same time? Obviously, it worked quite well with the try, but do you think maybe when they're both on, who should be playing 9, who should be maybe hanging up to the wing, or what's your kind of take on it as a whole?
Well, for me, I've said it many a time, George Horn is the best 9 Scotland have. I couldn't give a shit what anybody else says about Ben White or about how great Ali Price was back in the day. No, George Horn is the best scrum half Scotland have, and I will die in a hill for that.
Most exciting for scrum half to put up.
I would say so, yeah. He actually got quite a good grubber, a 50-22 actually, now that I'm thinking about it, from a random rock. I believe it was in the first half. I could be wrong with that, but yeah, he's seen the space, booted it from the rock way up and over and got a 50-22 from it. Other than Anton Dupont, I'm not sure of any other scrum halves that would have the balls to try that.
He is very Dupont-esque, if you ask me. I think I've mentioned that before. Tom Jordan also got a 50-22.
But he's a fly half. He's meant to do that. One thing, if we were to move back to, I would say, would be Newcastle. Now, I don't want to sound like I'm blowing my own trumpet, but that's exactly what I'm going to do. I said last week that I didn't think they would get into the top 4. And yes, they've spent a lot of money on all these guys, but these guys need time to gel, and it's not a quick overnight thing. They may come at it the season, but I'm unsurprised with how Saracens bet them. Was Farrell playing?
Yeah, I think he was actually.
Right.
I'm pretty sure he was. I could be wrong. It's one of the games I just watched the highlights for, so I'm trying to think back now. Actually, yeah, I know Christie was playing. Christie again. So something about the Scots. Christie played very well. He grabbed his try as well. But no, they were impressive. The Sarries were, like, looking at the highlights, very well drilled. Just like always, very strong, very well drilled. Just too big and too powerful for Newcastle. Also look good though. They did, their kind of shape and everything. Everybody seemed to know what their job was, what their task was. But again, like you say, maybe for a full 80 minutes, that kind of lack of experience together just plays a massive part. Whereas the Sarries side has been with each other for a long time. Also, Fergus Burke as well played well. Something about the Scots. He played well at fly half as well. But I was very chuffed with how all the kind of Scots performed in all the leagues this time. Apart from the Edinburgh players, was a bit shit. But we can maybe.
But we don't need to mention Edinburgh again.
We won't speak about that. That's a dark kind of area just now with Scottish rugby losing to Zambia. We'll maybe just push that one to the side. Okay then. Well, that's me for this week. How about yourself, Andy? Anything else to add?
No, that's me too.
Excellent. Okay, dokes. Well, thank you very much for listening. Get your predictions in for the Rugby Championship. I cannot wait for Australia vs All Blacks in Perth. That'll be some game lined up with, well, not shortly to follow would be the South Africa game at Twickenham against the Pumas, which again I think would be an enthralling game. It'd be something really to look forward to on top of all the other league action. I'm so happy. I'm so glad rugby's back, honestly, man. My weekend would have been shit if rugby wasn't back. I absolutely had a great time. Absolutely brilliant time. But anyway, so much the same. Thank you very much for listening, guys. Thank you very much, Andy, for your great points. And I'll see you in the next episode.
Bye-bye.